If you've ever been told that the Tokyo Marui Hi-Capa is the best airsoft pistol in the world, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys. My name is not Garantham, it's Maydaysan, and today we are reviewing the Capa D.O.R. Now, this is one of the newer Hi-Capas that have come out in recent year, and shout outs to my tech Tony the Spaghetti Man, always fixing my airsoft guns and always making sure that my guns are good to go because I'm super cursed and you guys know it. Every gun that I touch breaks. He's let me borrow his airsoft toy, the Capa D.O.R, pretty much brand new right out of the box, spanking new performance with one exception. And just as a disclosure, I'm not really a Capa user, I'm more of a Glock guy myself. These days, I'm really into my SIG, and this is kind of carrying me throughout the entire season so far. But today, we're talking about the ultimate shield gun, the Capa D.O.R. So let's get right into it. Let's just talk about what the Capa is. It's basically a 2011, a double stacked 1911, and it was kind of popularized by Tokyo Marui, calling it high capacity, meaning it had more rounds than the classic 7-round 1911 M45 with this double stacked magazine. Has all the same firing controls and the same size and dimensions, mostly of an M45 or a 1911, except that it's double stacked. And throughout the years, they have made so many different Capas. They made a 4.3, a 5.1, a rapid fire one, a gold match, which is one I used to actually have. And now they've come out with a new one called the D.O.R. This one is special because it's the Capa 5.1 direct optics ready. So it actually does come with plates that are included in the box where it's easy to mount an optic onto it, preferably the Tokyo Marui micro dot sight, which is a pretty terrible sight to begin with anyway, but that's basically what it's for. And it uses the new blowback engine. So let's go tip to butt. First, we're gonna prove clear. And we're good to go. Empty magazine. So, let's start at the tip with the outer barrel, which is actually made of plastic. And the cool thing about this thing is that not only is it direct optics ready, it is also tracer ready. And our friends over at T8, the Tracer Nano, which goes right onto here and looks very, very nice with, of course, a 14 to 11 millimeter adapter. And you can see some B-roll footage. I've already taken some videos where it is compatible. Very nice. Of course, you can fit other traces on there, but that's the nice thing about it. Most Capas, especially the gold match, you have to get an outer barrel that is already modified, or you have to modify a regular Capa outer barrel just to put a tracer on there. So this is nice that it's ready to go, and you can tell that it is competitive in Tokyo Marui fashion. It's ready to go right out of the box without doing any extra work. So that's good. Okay, so it is a plastic one, and it does tilt very, very slightly, not as much as a Glock does or an M17, but it does the job. And we have also a metal spring guide, so nice and sturdy, and it's gonna be able to handle that recoil. The slide, of course, is plastic. It does have nice serrations on there, a nice taper design, makes it nice and modern looking. Has some really cool markings on there, the D.O.R, caliber 45 ACP. But we all know we're all shooting plastic balls of cringe. And then on the other side, D.O.R cal 45 again. Serrations on the front, so it's easy to do press checks that don't do anything in airsoft except double feed your airsoft nozzle and screw up your gun. And then you also have serrations on the back. Now the cool thing about this is that the iron sight is a classic Novak iron sight, but the back is serrated like the gold match. So one of the gold match's best features is that it has a serrated and a night sight on the front, a red night sight, which is really good for CQB and dark areas. Unfortunately, the D.O.R doesn't have that, but again, it's meant to have an optic on it, which we don't have right now. But really nice design, very smooth plastic so that it can operate in the winter very easily, be more efficient on the gas, and of course, abide by Japanese handgun laws. So you might think the entire thing is plastic, but the frame is made of metal, just like the Capa gold match. So this thing is actually very sturdy, and that's pretty rare for Tokyo Marui pistols, which are usually all plastic, especially their Glocks when it comes to the externals or major frames. But this is one of the only pistols that come with a metal frame. I don't know how they get around that or why they decide to do it on the Capas, but it's clear that Tokyo Marui is investing in that. So very nice. Going down the controls, we have our regular slide lock, Just a regular one, nothing extreme, not specially designed for you to be able to touch it faster like a competitive pistol, just regular standard slide release. And you have your paddle safeties, which aren't too zealous or too large, but they're just enough for you to slam them up and down. Kind of similar to the Staccato, and much easier and more intuitive to use than the M17. They're not huge golden paddles like they are on competitive pistols or even the Gold Match, so that's nice. The magazine release is just a standard one. If you have big hands like me, you'll be able to get it, no problem. And we have a grip, little grip part for the trigger guard here, which is nice and square. The grip is just kind of a normal, it's not even stippled or anything like that. Just a kind of standard Hi-Capa. Kind of feels like the Gold Match grip. Nothing special, nothing to write home about, but it does have pretty good grip, especially if you're using gloves. You should be able to grip this thing pretty nicely. Now the magwell isn't flared or huge like the Gold Match, but it is slightly flared along the back, which means your magazines can easily get in there like so. And speaking of the magazine release, it does feel a lot smoother, and it feels like there's kind of a midway point where it gets caught on something and then it drops, but in the heat of battle, because it's heavy, you're not gonna have any issues of it actually falling out. And most of the time you'll just be doing tack reloads. So very nice grip overall. It also has your annoying grip safety. The gun will not fire, even if I cock it. The gun will not fire if I'm not having a proper grip. If I have even just a slight grip on there, it'll do it. If I have the proper grip on there, it'll still do it. So you just need a little bit of pressure and a little bit of grease on there. The beaver tail, very nice, and it is made of plastic, of course. It's not overly zealous, but it's not like an M45 where it's kind of short. It is quite competitive and is quite big, so you can get your nice meaty hands in there. So not a problem at all. Very nice grip like that. Now, before we talk about the trigger, I want to talk about one last thing about this frame, which is unfortunate about the D.O.R. It being a competitive pistol and ready to go. Unlike the M17 or even the Gold Match, it is not flashlight ready. I cannot mount a flashlight on this thing. There's no special mount for anything like that. It's just, you're not gonna have a flashlight and make it tactical. So I don't know what Tokyo Marui does. They always just wanna make the opposite of what you're asking for. But I think in a fast-paced environment, you're not gonna be using the flashlight like that. And they just want you to focus on the optic. Kind of makes sense since that optic, which they want you to use it on, is the Tokyo Marui microsight. So kind of unfortunate, which means you have to get your own holster for this. You can't run it with a flashlight like me, where I use the same broken flashlight on every single handgun that I use, and I just put it into my Omnivore and it's ready to go. Let's talk about weight and handling. Now, just holding in my hand like this doesn't have a CO2 canister in here, significantly heavier than the CO2 M17, but the handling is a lot more familiar. And I feel the grip is very, very nice on the Hi-Capa. Very nice. I can just feel the confidence with this one. With this one, you kind of have to learn the M17 grip, but it does hug your hand better because of that trigger. But if you're ever used to using any kind of Hi-Capa, it does feel basically the same tried and true grip. Very, very nice. Now, let's finally talk about that trigger. Prove empty, good to go. This trigger is quite similar to the Hi-Capa Gold Match. It is a single action trigger, so if the hammer is not cocked, it's not gonna go. It's a very nice shape, very ergonomic, it has a little groove in there that you can get your finger all around. And let's ghost that trigger together, guys. Let's see. Not bad. Very light, very, very light. There's not a lot of pressure I need. It kind of has a little bit of play here. Yep. There you go. Let's try and find the wall. There you go. There's a little bit of a wall right here. It's not very mushy. It's very, very light. Let's talk about that reset now. Oh, nice. Very smooth, very short. Reset. Yeah, right here. Very nice trigger. Now in action, hold the slide release down. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. The blowback is pretty nice as well. It is a little bit cold in here. It's about 18 degrees, and I have some gas from Dangan, which is actually a weaker gas than 134A Duster gas because they've begun to ban it. At the time of this recording, by 2024, there's gonna be no more Duster gas. You're gonna have to use the new non-fluon Marui gas or the Dangan gas, which is what I'm using right now. And yeah, considering it's 20% weaker, pretty good. Pretty good trigger, to be honest with you. Now, talk about disassembly. Pretty easy. It's just like a regular Hi-Capa. Okay, you're just gonna get to that slide release here, get to that little groove in the slide release like this, push it through. Very easy, and disassembles just like this. And you can see that we have our custom Hi-Capa inner barrel there. So you just take out the slide release, pull. So you're just gonna pull on the spring guide and hope it doesn't explode and fly across the room, which is always the scariest part. As you can see, it's a metal spring guide. Metal, nice spring there. Metal spring guide with 3 O-rings. Very nice. It's not gonna break on you considering Tokyo Marui's power limits here. And we have our metal frame, very nice. And our hammer system, which you can see works just like that. And if you go onto the slide here, plastic slide, you can just pull it out just like this as a one-off. And you can find that you have the hop unit like so. Now, this Hi-Capa is really nothing to write home about, but it is a new design, has the new engine, and it looks pretty cool. The only problem is that it is one of those where you kind of just take it as is, and you don't really get to customize it and make it as cool as you want. But that being said, it is a goddamn cool pistol. Now, would you choose it over a gold match or regular Hi-Capa 5.1043? I wouldn't recommend it for overseas users because of its limits to its upgrading. I'm sure by the time you watch this video, if you're watching this video in the future, there probably are some parts for the DOR, but at that point, why are you gonna be paying for something? I mean, you're gonna be, you get the new blowback engine and you get the new you get some nice ergonomics, but one, it doesn't have a light, and two, the internal upgrade parts are just not available at this time. My thing is, like, why would you buy this if you could just buy a gold match and just Gucci it out and make it super efficient? And by the time you're making your Hi-Capa competitive and super efficient, you're gonna be losing the whole blowback system because you're gonna be changing the housing, you're gonna be changing the spring, you're gonna be changing all this and that and increasing its efficiency, short stroke or whatever the heck. But if you are just a new player and you just want the nice blowback and you just want a simple Hi-Capa that has the ability to mount a tracer on here without having to do any upgrades, this is probably the best Hi-Capa to get because it's ready to go competitive out of the box. Even the iron sights are really good. It's ready to throw in a tracer right off the bat. You don't have to spend an extra $60 on an outer barrel, and mags are standard. They aren't anything special. And it's just a solid thing. And if you get one of these and you throw that in there, and you'll get better performance. And that's all you'll really ever need for the Hi-Capa. For me, I wish I could use this. I would prefer staccato because I like the 4.3 cut. If I go full size, I'll just be using my M17. I am kind of just transitioning over to CO2 guns now as winter is approaching and they're more all season. And I'm more of a Glock guy. I'm waiting for the Tokyo Marui Glock Gen 5 to come out, and I'll be picking one of those up and making that my main duster pistol for reliable backups, indoor or summer guns. But guys, this thing is very, very nice. And I gotta say, it's very nice. Yeah, just feeling it. The overall feel, even after all that shit I just talked, the overall feel of it, the ergonomics, the paddle safety, like the feel and the form factor of it feels very, very good in my hands. Very, very good. And there's no wobble like, you know, the gold match used to have. The slide is really cool. Like, it's not super boxy. It's nice and cut and modern. Yeah. You can actually press check it without actually engaging the nozzle. pretty far, so you can actually do a proper press check if you want. That's very nice. And it just feels good in the hand. Despite what I said about its upgradability, it just feels good in the hand. Very, very nice. So yes, I will say again, if you're looking for a pistol right out the box that's ready to go for the Tracer Indoor CQB, this is like your primary pistol, definitely run this thing. Can you convert it to an HPA engine? A lot of you are gonna be asking that. I don't know anything about HPA. You probably can. You might have to do some modifications, but damn, that just feels so good and so sturdy. Yeah, very nice. The mag catch isn't even that big, so it's not gonna make me drop the mags. I was having that issue with the staccato, but nothing's gonna beat that staccato grip. Yeah, very nice. Like, I'm not even having trouble finding the dot, even with both my eyes open. Very, very easy to find. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys like this content and want to see more of it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Like it, guys. YouTube likes to shout out my content. And we're going to be asking a lot of friends, for those of you in Japan, if you want me to review your guns, go ahead and send me a DM and we can get that arranged. And I'll borrow it, we'll review it, do a whole thing and talk about your build and all that stuff. And guys, that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. And we'll see you in the next one. Watch this video right here if you're interested in watching anything about Airsoft in Japan. Guys, it's going to stand here. Okay, great.